Staying busy?
No,
Oh,
that
my
renovation is
goodness.
still gonna be.
Yes, thank
Good,
you.
Good.
Thank
Okay,
you on both
let me
counts.
call this meeting of the Morgantown Land Reuse and Preservation Agency to order. We had a notice of the meeting, so we are there. Let me call the roll. Ms. McDonald?
Present.
Mr. Kirby?
Present?
Ms. Rye is excused and not here today. Mr. Bailey?
Present.
Mr. Mills is on his way, and Mr. Stranka.
Present?
And the chair is here. Thank you. We have no correspondence. There's no members of the public, so we will pass on that. There are no presentations today. Report of the officers of the directors. Mr. Kirby, anything?
Just that I just realized this today, but there's a Brownfield assessment grant that we would be eligible for, at least I think, that we have not started to apply for, but they're due November 13th. So it would give us money to assess these properties that we're doing. So I would just suggest we look into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. McDonald?
No.
Mr. Stranka?
No, sir.
Mr. Bailey?
No, sir.
Very good, thank you.
If
Uh,
I may, for Ms.
yeah.
Ms. Rye, Treasurer's Report?
Yes. Oh, okay, could we have the treasurer's report?
Yeah, Treasurer's Report, starting April 1st, 2023 to September 23rd, 2023, beginning balance was $57,471.72. Income was $13,298.53 with interest of $401.05. Ending balance was $71,171.30.
Great, thank you. Any questions for the treasurer?
There's one correction, that it was not leased to the West Virginia Land Trust, as the report states, the change in the lease.
Oh, yes, I will make that revision,
Okay.
yes, thank you.
The committees, Property Management Committee, Ms. McDonald. Nothing to report. Mr. Bailey, Greenbelt.
No, sir.
Okay, and city and underutilized properties.
I think we have things to discuss in
Okay.
new business.
Very good. And Mr. Mills is here, and we will note that we'll do another set of minutes next time.
Yes, sir.
We didn't, right, we didn't have.
We didn't have any minutes.
Okay, very good. Report of staff. The city manager's not here and the city attorney's not here. Mr. Yeager.
Just one update in addition to item B on the agenda, we are working with our city attorney to finish up making an offer on a property that requires relocation assistance on Pennsylvania Avenue. And we have a draft of that, so we should be able to move that ball forward and get that to the board at the next meeting.
Very good, very good. There is no unfinished business. We have 3 items under new business. A, the discussion and/or action on application to donate 121 Kingwood Street to the Morgantown Land Reuse and Preservation Agency. Mr. Yeager.
Yes, sir. So the copy of the staff report's in front of you, and I apologize it was not in your packet. But I think at the committee level, we've talked about this property on several occasions. But the application is from Sierra Eddy, who owns the property along with her family, 121 Kingwood Street, not Avenue, it's Kingwood Street. In terms of the background information, it's located in R1A Single Family District. The lot is a little over 3,000 square feet. The principal structure is vacant and has been condemned by the Code Enforcement Divisions. And this red file represents all the things that we have on this property going back to the early 1990s. Outstanding fees on the property include $7,100 in vacant structure fees, $2,334 in fire fees, property cleanup lien that was placed on the property of $1,600 for a total of $11,000 in outstanding fees or liens against the property. The appraised value, and there's just a map of the parcel viewer up on the screen here in front of you. The appraised value, according to the assessor's office, was $76,300. In terms of analysis, the title opinion that was included in your packet was conducted. I spoke with the city attorney, and he didn't see anything in the title opinion that wasn't insurmountable. There was a concern about the federal tax lien that was associated with it, and he suggested that we petition the GSA to try to release that in the future. Otherwise, that may require, if it is transferred to the agency, for us to hold on to it and not be able in the near future to transfer it to another entity if we wanted to. So it would be in our possession for some period of time.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes, sir.
So, I thought the title opinion said that time had expired for that.
Yes, and there was a consultation with Mr. Higgins as well as our city attorney about that, and they still believe it would still be valid.
How so?
That was our brief conversation this morning, because that was my concern. When you read the title opinion, it would no, because they didn't renew the lien.
And practically, how does that impact the proposed donation?
City attorney's advisement was that if the agency were to acquire it, it may require us to hold on to it until that could be resolved. We wouldn't be able to transfer it to another entity. So we've talked about either doing a side yard extension, making that property available potentially to an adjacent property owner, or making it available for more potential affordable housing. At the end of the day, we'd have to hold it probably until that was
So he's
resolved.
claiming that the lien, which is extinguished, may somehow come back to life
May still
and
have
be a
some
cloud on the
validity.
title that we would try to subsequently transfer. I really don't see it.
There's a
I'm not.
statute.
There's other title people in the room. I'm not understanding the risk here, but,
No, that.
That's what we could talked about this morning, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention
Okay.
in the
Have you
report.
ever heard of that?
no zombie tax liens, no. The law's the law.
Tis the
Why there's a
season.
statute?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt.
So
No,
who do
no,
you
no,
think
good
we
questions,
need to
good
talk to about
questions.
this? Who do we
Well,
need?
we'll decide ourselves, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so I will have a recommendation on a motion for consideration.
Look forward to
so,
hearing that.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry,
no,
sorry to
but I
interrupt.
mean, on that particular issue, would you like somebody to call, or are you just gonna go back and say,
We'll,
fine.
we will
it's
pursue it.
extinguished? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll probably reach out to the GSA and try to.
Let's hear what your recommendation is,
Yeah.
and then we'll see
Okay.
what we do.
Yeah, just to finish out, I know we've talked about before about when maybe accepting these properties or looking to acquire properties on behalf of the agency, is it a buildable lot? And while the lot, in terms of its size, does not meet the minimum lot size requirement in the district, and I'm just going to read from the city code, a non-conforming lot may be developed for any use allowed by the zoning district, provided the development meets through design by approved variance. So, if the other situation is if it was in somebody else's hands and they wanted to develop on it potentially, but then the design would have to meet the development standards according to the city zoning code, even though the lot is smaller than the minimum requirement of 3,500 square foot, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to put that out there because we've had that question before. Is it a buildable lot? Even though the lot's non-conforming, it can still be developed as long as it meets the development standards in terms of what will go back on it. And then city administration is willing to forego outstanding fees and release the liens of the property if it's donated to the agency, and all title issues are resolved amicably. Recommendation was to accept the donation of 121 Kingwood Street to the Morgantown Land Use Agency, provided all title issues can be resolved to the agency's liking and that the property can be demolished based on the related tax lien. So again, we've talked about also doing an assessment just to make sure, when we go through this, it's in pretty bad shape.
You think it's a demo? for sure?
Yeah,
So
given the
that's what I
history
was gonna
here.
ask about the condemnation, what the issues were to make it condemned.
Let's see here real quick. Let's see here. This one's from 2021. Let's see, premises with exterior of the property and all the issues associated with that. Windows. Let's see here, what else is on it? Roofing components have defects that emit rain, roof surfaces, and adequate drainage, and that's probably what's causing the deterioration inside the home, obviously. And this one's from 2021, and nothing was done about it.
So the funding that we have or getting from, have
Control of
have
it.
control of, then is that limited to demolition? Or my only question is, if you look at the house and based on location, whatever,
yeah,
you
let
get
me
a
pull that
demo
up too
price and
here.
it's,
There you go.
right, and so the concern is then, what's the balance of what it would cost to go in and renovate it and keep it for revenue versus demolishing it and then turning it into a side lot? That's all. I mean, that doesn't change, that's not gonna change my opinion on whether or not we accept it. I just think it may change the decision of, because if the difference is, if it's a $40,000
So the-
renovation and a $25,000 demo,
Right.
but it's gonna create revenue for us for 10 years, that's gonna make up $15,000, why
So-
would we tear it down?
Short answer to your question is when the funds were allocated through the city's ARPA program, it was for acquisition, demolition, and potentially be able to use for new affordable housing opportunities.
Okay.
But that was there was never really enough funds there to actually get it to we'd have to partner with somebody in order to get the affordable housing component.
So-
So it was really more acquisition and
Let
demolition.
me ask a technical question. if we accept this with the structure on it, or does the city, does the city accept it, demolish it, and give it to us?
It would be the agencies accepting the property, and demolition would be done in coordination with the city
So,
and agency.
I guess what I would say is then, and feel free to argue whatever side you want, is that I would say because it's an underutilized and blighted property, I would ask Mr. Stranko's group to do it as opposed to property management. But since Ms. McDonald's on that basically they meet and they figure out, well, the best path is renovate, the best path is demolish, the best path is abandon, or whatever. I mean, I think what's in the best interest of the neighborhood.
Right.
That the minute we own it, we do something quickly and show that we are
It's not gonna stay in its current.
a competent and caring owner.
Sure.
So we can work
And
together for
so
the
if you guys,
disposition.
I really don't care what committee we send it to, but I'd like to immediately send it to one of the committees so that we at least are actively working it and that something happens. And if we meet once and we say it should be torn down, then that's fine. You know, I just don't know that, where we need to go. 430 Spruce is an active, working building, so Jessica's agency deals with that. As we've been walking through the Pennsylvania Avenue and area, Tim's group has been working with that. Now that we have one, I'm not sure exactly where to put this, because this isn't 430 that we're gonna have and hold and operate. So, I mean, I just wanna make sure one of us, or small group of us, are looking at this and saying, quickly, we need to take it down, so.
But
I would
the
say
disposition, ultimately, what we do, we'll work together
Yeah.
on that, that'll be fine. But your conditional recommendation is that we accept the donation
With
if
the-
all these title issues are resolved.
Yes.
I would specifically want to know, what title issue are you recommending we resolve before accept this donation?
the fir-
Because I don't see it, other than paying the $23 for the judgment, I don't see a title.
Yeah, Ricky, I
Fine
don't know if
here.
you already said it, but what is somebody telling you that lien is an issue still? I don't understand.
It's I believe it's number 7.
Yeah,
Right, but
the-
why are they telling you it's still an issue? Who told you that?
Oh, well, I was speaking with Brian, our city attorney. It could be potentially an issue. And I'm not sure if there's another that I'm not seeing right in front of my face, but I didn't think there was anything
so
that
do you
would
think
be.
that could be issue right there? Is
Right,
enough
and-
for us not to accept the donation?
Correct. Just I would make it a proviso. Or if we're willing to go ahead and let's say there is something that would constrain us from transferring the property, at least being able to get it demolished in the future, because what we wouldn't want to do is to acquire that and not be able to get it down if that's what the board wants to do. So that would be the condition I would recommend be stipulated. But that's up to,
Well, the assumption is too that that's the only thing if that lien is alive for that property, I mean, it's a lien against
yeah,
Britton
and
and
I'm,
his assets. It's not really a lien against the property, and it's a matter
I
of.
mean,
The other
it-
thing
it
is
straight up on the internet. In addition to in my brain from being the title attorney, it's a 10-year statute. Like this is not. I don't understand why it's an issue. And he must be seeing something that he's not said.
yeah, and maybe, and I'm not, maybe not interpreting it correctly. But the other thing is that it is in,
after
it,
10 years. Like,
well, it says right in there after 10 years, and it was never renewed,
yeah. So.
at least.
We don't live in a
Yeah,
risk-free,
I guess what I'm saying is,
risk-free world,
let's
you
not-
know? I
let's
mean,
not put that
everything
as
doesn't have
a-
to be perfect.
Yeah, please don't contact the federal government
I
and
didn't
try to
hear
get them
you,
to
Michael.
tell you,
Let's take
like,
it.
that's not how that works.
Okay.
Yeah, just,
Chair, ready for a motion?
Yes.
I move that we accept the donation of the property. Also, included in my motion is authorizing the agency to pay the $29.75 abstract of judgment liability noted on, in the title report at item 5.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Again, Rick, I don't know who you need to make it clear to, that we want to move quickly, we
Yes.
want to do this, and again.
Can I amend my motion, David?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And that's also subject to the city surrendering all
The
their
liens,
liens, as you
correct.
reported. I
Yes.
think that's already been pledged, so.
Yes.
Yeah. But,
Thank you.
Okay, for the second?
Yeah, absolutely second.
but I mean, however we want to do this, just so that we look at it and do something quickly.
David, I would second that in the sense that I mean, this agency needs to prove itself and be publicly forward-facing, show good things happening. This is a great opportunity. So we need to, if we tear it down, we need to tear it down and have a plan for what's going
Right.
back, or who's gonna put it back with us, or we need to renovate it and figure out what that looks like.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. I guess what I'm saying to the committee is.
Who's gonna do that
it-
evaluation?
Well, not just that, but if they say, hey, this is a perfect opportunity for workforce housing.
Sure.
Are we gonna contact the housing authority? We're gonna contact this person? How do we, and sort of what the tear down or rehab plan is and what the go forward plan is and that sort of thing, so that we actively do that. You guys comfortable with that?
And also, I mean, Michael, I know how much you donate to the community, but, we need somebody to look at that.
Well, I was just gonna suggest, maybe Patrick and I both go
Yeah.
with you, because he looks at it with a little different
Yep.
lens than I do.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I
Great
think
idea.
it would be worthwhile, we'd make a walkthrough,
I'll bring the cupcakes, okay? We can all meet over there.
and the iced tea.
Okay, so we, Ricky, you understand what we're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Do we have
Discussion.
We have a
insurance?
motion and second, call the
Yes, it was.
question.
I mean, my thought is if we, just for the discussion, if we vote on it, we take it, whenever that happens, then we go ahead and insure it until even if we walk through it, but that should
Right.
have a
That- yeah.
Well,
homeowner's policy.
they should add it to our brim coverage.
Brim
We're-
coverage.
We're
Sorry,
covered, we're
we
covered by
covered
brim,
the insurance.
and what we would need to do is just note that we have we've added an asset.
Right.
So I just have a question about how the
Condition.
fees work. Like, when you assess a vacant structure fee, it's because nobody's in it and it's deteriorating or something?
Correct. Under the old ordinance, there was an escalating fee schedule. So if there were property, it didn't matter if that house was code compliant or not. If it was vacant, it would just escalate.
Oh.
The new ordinance is based on if there are code or life safety violations with the property. Whether
Is there
that
something
fee
that
schedule-
happens, like, is there a process where, like, you go a certain amount of time and then something happens, or does it just keep going indefinitely?
Keeps going indefinitely.
Ah.
That's why we're working to change it, because we've had and maybe not to get off on a tangent, but one of the issues are if you were looking at that house and it looked exactly like every house on the block, is it an issue?
Mhm.
Is it a detriment to the neighborhood? You can debate that issue, but what the city has said is that going forward, that will be assessed one flat fee from now as long as it's vacant, instead of this incremental, or it shouldn't be incremental, it's exponential increase in outstanding fees. Obviously, they were under the old and it's been vacant for 20-plus years,
Oh, okay.
at least.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
you're welcome.
Other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's really exciting, that's
Yeah.
our first
That- yeah.
first buy.
Mhm.
Yes,
Right.
the owner will be very happy to hear that too, so
I-
appreciate it.
Item B, discussion and/or action on purchase sale agreement for 570 Pennsylvania Avenue. Mr. Yeager.
Just a couple of notes, we'd be acquiring two parcels, tax map 29, parcels 246 and 246.1 for $41,300. Earnest money payment of $500, closing in 60 days.
Can you put it up, do you have it on the map?
I will put it up, yes.
Yeah, this is
This will be a nice.
this is my favorite.
Fine. The red house right here, that's got the for sale sign in the yard. So this
Well, that's
is,
not the one I was.
I thought it was on the other side, okay.
and then this is there's the lot back here that fronts onto Brockway, and this would be what we'd be acquiring.
Well, again, what was the price?
Pardon me?
What was the price?
41,300. Of course, we'd have demo expenses,
Bargain.
we'd have demo expenses involved in that, but if
So what,
it's
and
determined.
why are we?
Pardon?
I don't know what I drank this morning, why I keep questioning why we're tearing stuff down, but just looking at that and looking at what you're gonna end up with the slope and some other things, just in my head, I'm supportive of acquiring it. I just wanna make sure that,
Yeah, that's why I think we talked about either doing this evaluation throughout the
I like that.
process, yeah.
and I'm not saying it should stay, and I know what we're talking about with that neighborhood, but maybe, yeah, I'd just like to look at it, just because it's just a concept of what you
Actually,
see.
I think I want to take action on these, but at the end of this, I think it'd probably be good to go into executive session as we talk
Yeah.
about this surrounding neighborhood and
Yeah.
sort of these
And the
acquisitions.
structure looks viable, doesn't it? I mean, I know the back of it's fallen off, right? So, I mean, there's attractive nuisance there, I suppose, but other than that,
Or unattractive nuisance?
unattractive nuisance, thank you.
No, that's what people say.
I know, it's the legal term. I don't.
Any questions
So-
for Mr. Yeager?
Just one other note, the draft, what's in your packet is a draft, and so there probably still need to be some tweaks, and Mr. Bazio has been working
Right.
with the owner. So staff's recommendation would be to make a motion to approve the acquisition of 570 Pennsylvania Avenue for the two parcels listed in the amount of $41,300, and to authorize city administration to make any modifications necessary to the PSA to complete the transfer.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there questions or discussions with Mr. Yeager?
So what is that one assessed at currently?
Let's see here.
Is this one of the ones that he had to negotiate, or did somebody come to them?
They listed it, right?
Yeah, they initially reached out to us, time passed, and then we're back to where we are, yeah. Let's see here.
But
I
this
think-
is not one that we went after. This is one that came onto the market and we,
This is one where actually they initially reached out to us once
But
they
it's
heard
in
of
the-
this program.
But it's in the triangle.
Yeah,
yeah.
so building value is 53.8, appraised with the land 91.2. And I believe
It's
this,
like we're getting such a deal, you know?
when I believe this deed had like maybe 3 or 4 properties on it that were
Oh,
associated
okay.
with it,
Got
so. This is the one that initially we were looking at the lot along the river or along the creek.
Mm-hmm.
That's no longer part of the deal. It's just, but based on our previous conversation, it's just these 2 lots. And I'll zoom out. There you go. These 2 lots here, and the other lot that we're working on for the relocations assistance is that one.
That's the one.
That's-
Uh-huh,
the one.
that's the
I
one.
thought you were talking about. No, I'm less excited, but still pleased that we're
Yeah.
moving. So-
That one's much more complicated because of that federal, what we're having to do federally to relocate,
Yeah.
yeah. But Ryan's been working
But we're
very hard
making
on it.
progress.
Yes, yes, sir. Ryan's been doing a great job.
Any questions, any discussion? All those in favor of the approval of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
And who was the first and second? I apologize.
Motion is, the motion is approved, thank you. Item C, discussion,
Who was the second? Sorry.
Michael.
I did.
Michael.
Oh, you.
I was the mover. I was the
Tim,
moving-
all right, you were the mover.
I was the co-mover.
All right.
Item C, discussion and/or action regarding lease agreement with the West Virginia Women's Business Center. Mr. Yeager.
Yes, so on the last page in your packet, they provide notification back in September that they plan to vacate the property. They've already done so. They provided a 30-day notice, and they're requesting that their lease requirement be terminated 1 month early, foregoing a payment of approximately $932. Staff recommends approval of the request.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to
Mr. Mills makes
accept,
a motion.
accept the,
Staff recommendation.
Second?
Moved and second. Questions, comments, discussion?
I just note that this was, their ability to occupy this space was made possible by a grant that wasn't renewed.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
Tough business.
Lacking discussion, all those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion carries, thank you. Is there anything else to come before the public session of this body?
Well, just, Ricky, you're gonna monkey pull us so we can meet, out at that property and.
Yes, sir. Once I
Might be
notify,
herding cats, everybody's busy,
Yeah, yeah.
but
well, once I notify the applicant, making sure and yes, we'll start that process as soon as we get everything transferred over. Yep.
There'll be no, at this time, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss the acquisition and development of property, and note that there will be no further business to come before the agency when we rise from executive session. Do I have a motion?
so moved.
Second.
Moved and second. All those in favor of moving to executive session, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. We are now in executive session. Thank you.